Okay, we're gonna need some dough for pizza. I have my dough, just took it out of the KitchenAid. And basically what you do, you wanna make sure you keep your hands floured, but you don't want this dough to get too dry. And if you watch what I'm doing, I'm actually turning it a quarter turn and I'm folding it end to end, and then I'm actually pressing the fold. I'm trying to keep my hands from sticking to the dough. So initially, my technique looks more like I'm just kind of pressing down into the dough. So I'm turning it a quarter turn, end to end, keeping my hands floured, pushing into the dough. That's the motion. And as I get faster, you might not be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm trying to do it slow enough. I do this for 10 minutes, so end to end, and you're trying to actually create air bubbles in the dough. And by doing that, that's how you form the gluten. And that's where you end up with a really nice texture on your dough. If you like to get a little bit thicker pizza, which I like. I'm not against thin crust, but if I could get a nice consistent rise throughout the dough, I find that, at least for my family, that's what they enjoy the most. So I have already sanitized this granite countertop, and all I'm doing is kneading the dough right on the countertop. Everyone has slightly different techniques. I like to make sure that I get all the folds, so it might look like I'm spending a little more time. You'll see people that they'll actually use the heel of their hand, turn it, use the heel of their hand. This is a little larger piece of dough. I have about just over 2.5 cups of flour. When I mix it in the mixer, I mix it just until a dough ball forms, and when I take it out of the mixer, it's still pretty wet. So to be honest with you, I put 2 cups of flour into this recipe, and then I have a measuring cup that I'm actually cheating from as the dough is worked. And starts to get a little wet because you don't want your hands sticking to it. It's a simple dough recipe. In your mixer, you begin with 1 cup of water, and I do check to see that it's 110 degrees because that's optimum. Just under 110 is optimum for yeast. And after the cup of water at 110 degrees, I measure a tablespoon of olive oil, a tablespoon of honey, a tablespoon of yeast, and a teaspoon of salt. And with those ingredients, I let them set up. You actually mix those. I usually take a spoon, mix them up real good, try to get the yeast to dissolve a little bit. And then I just leave that, probably leave it for whatever, 5 or 10 minutes. And you'll see that the yeast will start to expand. And then I'll turn the mixer on and I begin adding 1 cup of flour. And then I add my 2nd cup of flour. And as it pulls away from the sides, as soon as it does that, I stop because I don't want to overbeat the dough. And then I bring it over here to my countertop. And you probably could get away with kneading it for 5 minutes. I knead it for 10, just because I want to make sure that I've gotten and created a lot of air pockets. That's it. All right, until next time, signing off.